Well, hey, welcome to Good News on 5 News Plus. I'm Joe Ellison. Now, the Forsman Police Department recently gave a hero's welcome to Officer Kyle Newman, who was injured in the line of duty last month. Well, this was the scene at the department on Monday as Newman returned for the first time since his injury. He was honored with a Medal of Valor and Purple Heart. The department says they're thankful for all the community's prayers and the inspiration Newman has been to his fellow officers. Now, while FSPD was welcoming back an officer, another local police department was saying goodbye to one of theirs. Bentonville Police Chief Ray Shested retired, and the department honored his decades of service with a send-off celebration. Now, he told 5 News that the job is all about community.
This entire job is based around service, and a lot of it's behind the scenes, a lot of it's not always visible to the public, and but I will tell you, all of our employees are men and women that work for this department from all units have one job in mind, which is service to our community and keeping our community safe.
Showed me several times that he liked, says the strength of the pack is the wolf.
The Bentonville Police Department. Well, the transplant games. 23 years of Shested's law enforcement career was at the Bentonville Police Department. Well, the Transplant Games of America are bringing together organ recipients, donors, and donor families from across the country in Denver this week. And for one Team Arkansas athlete, the competition is about much more than winning medals. 5 News reporter Jada Daniels spoke with him about his celebrating a second chance at life.
Morlington native Matthew Bowles says he was a healthy high school athlete trying to make an all-star football team when one day he started having trouble breathing, leading to several doctor's visits and unanswered questions.
I don't know, probably 4 or 5 misdiagnoses. They finally got it right, and they diagnosed me with dilated cardiomyopathy, which they say came from the flu.
For more than 6 years, Bowles relied on a mechanical heart pump to stay alive. And when that LVAD began to fail in the middle of the pandemic, he began searching for a donor.
We had a 2-year-old and an 8-month-old, and so there was a lot on our plates at the time, and just a lot of unknown in the world. Yeah, unknown in the world. So it was a scary time.
His wife, Emily, says there were times she found herself thinking about what life would look like without him and how she would raise their 2 young sons on her own. But soon after that, Bowles received the call. He was a match for a young teenage boy from Texas.
This is to honor him as well, the gift, that he gave me. Just one of the ways that I can, try to do that for him. There's not really a way to, express that gratitude, but this is just one of the ways that I found that I can.
The former athlete says his transplant didn't just save his life, it gave him the opportunity to return to something he thought he had lost forever.
That's just a piece of me that had been missing for a very long time, and so it's nice to get that back, to compete against people again, and it's even better when you get on the court, you shake hands, and you're asked, how are you, where you from, and what you had transplanted, and we all have similar stories, so it's nice to be able to share that with people.
We got the latest on a community art project bringing benches to local bus stops and a new program aiming to offer access to spay and neuter services. All that and more is coming up after the break. A local volunteer group is working to make bus stops a little more comfortable across the region. 5 News reporter Taylor Howard shows us how one woman's idea has turned into dozens of hand-painted benches for transit riders.
Every day, hundreds of people across Northwest Arkansas use public transportation. But after noticing many bus stops didn't have a place to sit, a group of volunteers decided to do something about it.
I found myself often sitting on the ground next to trash and dirt and just not having a place to sit.
Rebecca DeClerc started NWA Bench while working on a college project about accessible transportation.
And I think it was just the proximity of sitting on the ground. I did not have any dignity in those moments.
That feeling led her to start NWA Bench.
It's not just me interested in building benches, it's other volunteers, it's other people in the community, and that's kind of how NWA Bench was formed. We met individuals through Fayetteville Strong and Studio X.
So far, the nonprofit has placed about 20 benches at Ozark Regional Transit stops in Springdale, Rogers, Bentonville, and Fayetteville. Each one has a character of its own, hand-painted by volunteers and placed at stops with some of the highest ridership.
Having a bright, colorful bench brings that visibility that we have a transit system here in Northwest Arkansas, and really supports riders who are using this to get around town.
Ozark Regional says roughly 1,400 to 1,500 people use buses to get around each day in NWA. Volunteers like Stockton Piles spend hours building and delivering the benches at the busiest bus stops in the region. He says seeing riders comfortable while they wait makes it all worth it.
It just warms my heart knowing that I made a difference, even if the person sitting there doesn't know I made a difference.
I want more people to have access to transportation, and if you do it by bus, then you should have just as much dignity as someone who's driving by car.
Rebecca says NWA Bench will host a bench building workshop October 10th and 11th at Ozark Regional Transit. In Springdale, covering news where you live, Taylor Howard, 5 News.
Well, Fayetteville Mayor Molly Ron recognized the group for the project, highlighting both the community service and beautiful art. Ron has previously promised that every bus stop in the city will get a covered bench. She says this community-led effort is a great solution until that goal is accomplished. Now, the city said, quote, these benches are a great example of what can happen when we all work together. Resident transit providers and the city continue to work together to improve everyday experiences. Well, more good news coming out of Fayetteville. The city is about to get its first free thrift store. You heard that right. It's a store where every item is completely free of charge. Now, the project is led by a group of college students, and after months of pop-up events, they're now opening a brick-and-mortar location. 5 News reporter Jada Daniels shows us why organizers say it's about more than just clothing.
At a time when many families are feeling the impact of rising costs, these college students are working to make sure one less thing stands in the way of making ends meet. And what started as a pop-up shop has grown into Fayetteville's first free thrift store.
I'm a college student. I don't have a lot of money. So even for me, thrift stores were getting too expensive. So it's like I saw a problem in my life, and this is a solution for me, and it's also a solution for many other people.
They're hoping to extend that support to others in the community, from clothes to household essentials. Those who shop can pick from a range of items, all at no cost. But Rachel Cox, Secretary and Treasurer, says the experience is about more than providing clothes.
I think this is nice because you give those people the dignity to shop in an actual store and able to find things that they don't really have, that people don't think are necessary goods but make you feel good. Like we have jewelry and things like that. So it might not be a necessity in most people's eyes, but it's still good for people's souls, I would say.
Cox tells me the store will offer more than items on its shelf. In the months ahead, they plan to host workshops and other events.
We'll have a free creative space in the back here where we'll have free art supplies, a sewing machine, and then we'll also do monthly workshops.
And organizers say they plan to continue accepting donations and expanding their program to meet community needs. In Fayetteville, covering news where you live, Jada Daniels, 5 News.
Well, when we come back from break, we'll have the latest on a new 24/7 pet emergency room that opened in Rogers. A new regional program aimed at reducing unwanted puppy and kitten litters is set to launch later this summer in Northwest Arkansas. Organizers say it's designed to bring affordable spay and neuter services to pet owners that may otherwise have trouble accessing them. 5 News reporter Emily Moss has more.
Puppies, kittens, and a growing need for shelter space. Animal rescues across Northwest Arkansas say pet overpopulation continues to strain resources.
In 2024 alone, the Northwest Arkansas Animal Alliance brought in over 3,200 puppies and kittens just in that year.
The challenge is one being felt across Northwest Arkansas Animal Alliance, a coalition of 13 shelters and rescue. Rather than expanding shelter space, the alliance is trying to reduce the need for it. The group has launched the Northwest Arkansas Spay and Neuter Access Project. The program will use a mobile MASH unit to bring low-cost spay and neuter surgeries directly into communities across the region. At Fayetteville Animal Services, Justine Lenz says affordable vet care can be out of reach for some pet owners.
You know, veterinary care can be a really big barrier for people. The cost of that is, of course, it's a business just like any other, and it continues to go up. Obviously, as part of public safety, we have a vested interest in making sure that we're reducing the unwanted pet population, not only to keep them out of our shelters, but also to keep our streets safe.
The first clinics are expected to begin later this summer, with surgeries costing between $0 and $25. Organizers hope to complete more than 600 procedures in the program's first year. And unlike many mobile clinics, this one can be set up nearly anywhere.
We can pop up a spay neuter clinic in a school basketball gymnasium, in a church. And so we're really excited about the flexibility of this program to really get into some spaces where spay neuter isn't happening.
Shelters say the benefits go beyond preventing unwanted litters. It's also about creating more room for animals that have nowhere else to go.
We always hope that it's going to help us to have more flexibility, more kennel space, to where when we get those pets that are in crisis that don't have any other option but the shelter, you know, that we're able to help those pets. That's always the goal.
In Fayetteville, covering news where you live, Emily Moss, 5 News.
Well, a new 24/7 pet emergency room is now open for business in Northwest Arkansas. It's located in Rogers on South 46th Street near Pinnacle Hills Parkway. Veterinarians at the clinic say in addition to being open around the clock, people will be able to stay with their pets for all stages of treatment, including overnight.
We work closely with the area veterinarians, so we're an extension of their care. We're here to help people and their pets when they need us most, and help out the area veterinarians so they can get off the time clock and spend a little time with their families.
Well, pet owners will also be able to call the new ER and speak directly with the licensed vet, helping them make quick decisions in high-stress situations. Well, while we're on the topic of pets, here's something new in Fayetteville. Residents can now legally own miniature sheep. A new city ordinance was unanimously passed by the council and took effect immediately thanks to an emergency clause. City leaders say miniature sheep are quieter than ghosts, less likely to escape, and will add to the community's vibrancy. The move allowed residents Kayla Rath, who pushed for the change, to quickly bring home 2 miniature sheep.
I wasn't expecting her to do the emergency sheep order, but she did. So I actually found a local, it's called Barnyard Buddies, that she does like birthday parties and events like that, like a mobile petting zoo for kids. And she happened to have exactly 2. So we ended up with hers.
Residents say anyone interested in owning miniature sheep should research the city's requirements before getting them. She also says owners should remember sheep are herd animals, which is why city code requires at least 2 of them. Well, thank you so much for joining us for Good News on 5 News Plus. We hope to see you again next week.